Hey, it's Errol. Man, it's been a big week for John Stamos, Bob Saget, and Dave Coulier. It all started with a yogurt commercial for Dannon.
Woo! Oh, no, that was a good game. What do you say, boys? Time to go to bed?
Don't you think it's time we all get our own places?
Nah.
The three guys, a full house, show up on TV, and it went viral. Next thing you know, they're showing up on Jimmy Fallon.
Dad? Dad? Dad?
Jimmy, what's wrong?
Nothing. I'm just scared.
Scared? About what, Jimmy?
About leaving late night.
Hey.
What's going on?
Yeah, we just heard some sad yet sappy, heartwarming music. Is everything all right?
Yeah, Jimmy's just a little scared about leaving late night. Jimmy, I know how you feel, but there's nothing to be afraid of. I host a talk show, too. You probably heard of it. Wake up, San Francisco!
Look, Jimmy, I think what Dan is trying to say is that everything is going to be fine.
It is?
Of course. I mean, you're leaving late night, but listen, you're taking over the Tonight Show. Do you have any idea how cool that is?
Yeah, only 5 people in history have ever hosted The Tonight Show, Jimmy. Comedy legends like Johnny Carson. It's so cold, I saw a dog stuck to a fire hydrant. Jay Leno, have you seen this in the paper? Popeye the Sailor drowns in olive oil. Popeye.
Why do you have to always find some way to work in Popeye?
Come on, Jess, it was just a joke.
The hair, huh?
Guys, come on, knock it off. Can't you see Jimmy's still upset?
I guess I just missed the late night show. I mean, I've been doing this for 5 years. There's been so many special moments, so many great musical guests. Paul McCartney, Bruce Springsteen.
Jesse and the Rippers.
Yeah, they were okay. I think they were lip syncing.
Hey.
Jess, come on.
Jimmy, I know you'll miss the memories you made at late night. But now you can make new memories at The Tonight Show.
I can?
Of course! And just like Uncle Jesse said, you're going to be the host of The Tonight Show on NBC. Honey, no one can ever take that away from you.
Well, maybe Jay Leno. He could...
Jess, cut it out.
Look, the important thing, Jimmy, is you're going to be great. You can host a show, play guitar, and do impressions. You're just like Danny Tanner, Jesse Katsopoulos, and Joey Gladstone all rolled into one.
I never thought about it like that. That's weird, actually. Thanks, guys. I feel better now. But I'm still a little sad about leaving late night.
I understand. Hey, I know what always cheers Jimmy up.
The comedic stylings of Ranger Joe and Mr. Woodchuck.
Hey, Jimmy, are you made of wood?
No, not that. A song.
Do the teddy bear song.
Wait a minute. You want me to do an Elvis song? Have mercy.
This one's going out to a groovy dude who's about to go to sleep.
Here we go. 1, 2, 3, roll. Oh, baby, let me be your loving teddy bear. Wrap your chain around my neck and lead me anywhere. Oh, let me be.
Oh, let him be.
Yo. A teddy bear. A teddy bear. A teddy bear. A teddy bear. I just want to be your teddy bear. Ooh.
One more time.
No. Come on, Jimmy. It's time for bed. Good night, honey. It's late. No one in their right mind is still awake.
But it's 12:37 a.m. That's when my show comes on.
Exactly.
Good night, Jimmy.
The Comedy Zone at NC Music Factory presents
Dave Coulier. What if that Bullwinkle voice was your real voice? Hey, Al, how was your night last night? I got hammered.
Dave Coulier. Friday and Saturday night. CLTComedyZone.com. CLTComedyZone.com. Here we go. We're unplugged and totally uncut with Dave Coulier. What's up, man? How are you doing? Errol Collins. How you doing, man?
He knows your home state well, he says.
From Montana?
I go to Montana every summer. Livingston.
Yes!
Yeah.
Windy City, man.
Yeah, a lot in Livingston and, all those little big timber. And
What do you do up there?
I go fishing.
Fly fishing?
Yeah.
Really?
And I go and I stand in a river the whole month of July, and I go to rodeo and
Heck yeah. Over to Red Lodge or
buy
anything?
tons of no, not there, but just Livingston rodeo.
Yeah.
Yeah. And buy tons of fireworks and almost blow an eye out every year. But
You get down to Billings at all, or?
not too much. That's kind of my little area. And then I just saw John Mayer, and I didn't realize where I'm staying this summer. He said, "Well, just raft down to my house."
Yeah.
So because we're staying in Prey.
So you're on the Yellowstone then?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we're staying in Prey, which is near between Chico and Livingston.
Yeah.
Right in there.
Yeah. Do you ever go up there around the Bozeman Tunnel?
No.
If you're going toward Bozeman, there's a tunnel there. My grandfather helped build that.
Oh, really?
And so when they said, "Oh, you can't put a tunnel through these mountains," okay, just watch out.
Yeah, I've never been through the tunnel, but I've made that drive from Livingston to Bozeman a zillion times.
In
Yeah.
the old days, it was
It's snaky?
windy. Oh, it was scary.
Yeah.
I was like, no, I don't want to go to Bozeman. I'm not going to do it.
Yeah. But that's where I am. That's where I'm going to be the whole month of July. Yeah. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
So they still do like their crazy days and all that kind of stuff down there?
They
Open up all
do.
the shops?
Yeah. And it's just, they have a little art festival right there in downtown. And I got a couple of buddies that have ranches there. So we all just get together and drink beer and fish and lie to each other for weeks on end.
Now you're from Canada, right?
Well, my mom's Canadian.
Okay.
But I'm from Detroit.
Because the Canadians always have come down into Montana.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like Bret Hart and all those guys would come down to Butte and all that stuff. And
Yeah.
I swear it's because it's got to be the closest thing to that part of Canada, Saskatchewan and stuff.
Yeah.
Wow.
Actually, a buddy of mine from Detroit's going to meet me up in Montana in June. He's from Saskatchewan. His name's Joey Kosher. Yeah.
Such a small world.
I know, right? Right? I know. So,
It was a pleasure.
thank you so much. You too.
Hey, dear.
How many millions of people do you think you freaked out the other night when you guys showed up on Jimmy Fallon?
It has started such a firestorm. It's unbelievable, And we did a Reddit interview. I don't know if you ever go on Reddit, but it's like the wild, wild west of the internet. So we did a thing called an AMA, Ask Me Anything, and it's blown up. It's just gone so viral. It's crazy. Every day the PR people send us like these tear sheets, these numbers of like, okay, this is going viral. This has gone viral. This is like the biggest, And I'm like, holy crap. I guess people were paying attention to what we were doing,
Now, did it all start with a yogurt commercial then?
Well, John brought us into the whole yogurt thing. He had done several, commercials with Dan, and so he pitched the idea of bringing me and Bob in. And so, they researched it, and then they brought us in, and we went to New York this past week. We did Jimmy Fallon. We did The View. We did Good Morning America. But it's just been insanity. Yeah.
It's like being Kiss on concert, man.
Yeah, really, without the makeup. Yeah.
Do you feel like a rock star out there again, then, or?
Well, this Super Bowl campaign, it's so broad in its scope. I mean, it's international. When you realize that over 1 billion people will watch the Super Bowl, it's like 1 billion people are going to see my big fat skull. That's insanity. Yeah.
Now, did you have to script out the thing with Fallon?
That was very scripted out because you got 4 cameras and you have to shoot it kind of like a Full House scene. Right. So there's cues and so that was very scripted. But we got to change a couple of little things here and there. But I had no idea how much all of his staff. I mean, everybody there was like a huge Full House fan. It was crazy.
All right, let's be honest. Does he stand a chance on the Tonight Show?
I think he's going to do very well.
Good.
I think he'll do very well. And I think it's because he's more like Leno doesn't do those self-deprecating sketches like Johnny Carson used to do. And one of the things why you love Johnny Carson was he wasn't afraid to put himself in a dress or some crazy outfit or sing a song or something. And Fallon does that.
Yeah. And that's what makes comedy more fun, when you can take a pot shot at yourself.
I think so, yeah.
And don't you, in your own style, too, even when you jump into characters and stuff, aren't you taking a shot at yourself?
Yeah, of course. This whole Full House image that we have, we just embrace the bad mullets and the stupid-looking sweaters. And, and I think because we've embraced our characters in the whole Full House genre, I think it's endeared fans to us even more, that we're not putting down the show or saying, it was a bad outfits and a stupid era. We really embrace it. And, we're all very close from the show, which is just great. And so I think that it's hard to fake that chemistry, especially after all these years. So I think people really embrace that.
Yeah, especially for the three of you. It's like you guys are a family. Are you that close?
Yeah, we are. I was sitting at home. I've told this story a couple of times. I told Mike, I said, I'm sitting at home last week, and John and Bob called me up. They said, what are you doing? Are you back in town? I'm like, yeah. They're like, can we come over? And I was like, okay, I'm sitting here in my pajamas. So they drove over and we sat in my backyard. I lit a fire in the fire pit and we sat there acting stupid.
In California?
Yeah.
Here, you need some water? I think you guys are like needing
I know. Crazy. Well, now they have, I just read today that they have these squads. They're going to be driving around Los Angeles, these drought squads. And if they see people if they see people watering their lawn or washing their car or squirting down the driveway or something on a day where you're not supposed to, they're going to bust you.
Oh, my God.
I know. Stupid, isn't it?
So in all the letters that you've gotten from people who have followed you, what's the weirdest way somebody has spelled Coulier?
It gets mispronounced more than it gets misspelled.
Coulier?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Coulier. Hey, Coulier. Is there a Dave Coulier here? It's like, so it does. Growing up, it was brutal. It was, it was a name that none of the teachers could ever pronounce. And then once they learn it,
It's French, right?
Belgium, French, Canadian.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, man. I had somebody in Billings live next to me that was from Belgium. They like to fight.
Do they really?
Oh my God! Not
really
like fist fight, but they argue. Woo! I swear that he would always just so he could speak.
So that one guy has ruined it for all the Belgian people. Wow, they like to fight. Yeah, well, no stereotype there. Don't go to Belgium unless you're ready to throw down a couple of haymakers. Yeah.
Now, have you been touring the comedy circuit now?
I have. I've really embraced my stand-up as well. I took a long break from doing stand-up.
Yeah.
And just because I was doing television, and that was really my focus. It was, voiceovers for animation and television. And so I've really embraced it like never before, and I'm actually having more fun with it now than I've ever had.
In what way?
I'm writing more.
Okay.
I'm investing more of myself into the actual jokes. I'm investing more energy into. I just built a website. I always had like this crappy website, it looked like it was built by my grandma, I'll just go to one of these sites where you can just build a website in 2 minutes. So I built this great website, and it's got a store on it where people can, buy crazy like things like cut it out shirts and I've really embraced the whole world of stand-up more than I ever have, and it's so much fun.
Now, the cut it out, that's definitely your song hook. That's your Motown.
It is, and I'll tell you where that whole cut it out thing came from. My friend Mark Sandrowski, I've known since I was 8 years old. He's a childhood friend, and he's now the director of the Big Bang Theory television series. Wow. Yeah, he's directed every episode. So he and I go back many, many years from our hometown, and we were once a comedy team. We were a duo called C and Ski, and he used to go on stage and play this Mark Suave character, and he would always unbutton his shirt, and he would pick some lady in the front row and show her his nipple. And that was his big thing, and he would go, hey, man, here you go. Oh, cut it out. And he used to do the hand motions. And I always told him, I said, I'm going to steal that and use it for something. So I started using it on a show called Out of Control on Nickelodeon. It became kind of a catchphrase. And then I brought it to Full House, and just people come up to me all the time, and they botch it up. They get it wrong all the time. They're like, hey, knock it around. And I'm like, you mean cut it out. Oh, yeah, okay, you got it. Way to go.
Now, do you think comedy is like a song where you have to have a hook? When it comes to that punchline, it's got to be about pace and rhythm.
Yeah, but the difference between music and stand-up is at the end of a song, people will always clap and cheer. They don't always laugh at the end of a joke.
Right.
So there's a different rhythm with stand-up. I always equate stand-up to kind of like blues and jazz. Oh. It's kind of more of those emotions, than rock and roll.
How come you didn't take up music?
I did. I was in a high school band. I had a band in high school named we called ourselves Nighthawk. Nighthawk, and I had long hair, and I played harmonica, and we used to play school dances and stuff.
Wow!
But I every time I got in front of the mic, here we were, these guys like trying to be cool, and I would always want to tell fart jokes, because there was an audience there. So I got more hooked on the fart jokes than the 3-chord songs we were playing.
Now, to come up with all the characters, which I can't imagine how many you can do, were you just staying up late at night trying to fall asleep and you would just create these things?
I used to lay in my bunk beds, me and my brother Dan. And my brother Dan, I've had a career of 35 years of doing voices for movies and television, but my brother Dan really taught me how to do voices. He could do family members or our coaches, kids on our street. He was amazing. And so I really learned that whole ear quality of capturing something and characterizing it from my brother Dan. And then when I was 9 years old, I finally came up with like an impression he couldn't do, and it's a really weird impression. It's called a duck with a pencil caught in its throat. And so it's just and I used to do it for people. I know you can't see the facial expression. See, now that's a teaser. You'll have to come to my shows.
Comedy Zone.
Yeah, and so everybody just loved the duck with a pencil caught in his throat. And I sailed past my brother. I was like, I am so much better than you right now. Yeah.
Yeah, because you don't really hear of a lot of comedians coming out of Detroit. It's usually the musicians and the car makers.
Well, there's actually quite a few comedians. There's me. There's Tim Allen.
Really?
There's another guy.
With California.
Yeah, no, he's a Detroit guy. Gilda Radner. There's quite a few comedians that have come out of the Detroit scene.
Look how uneducated I am. I thought Gilda Radner was Chicago because of the Saturday
Second
Night
City.
Live.
Yeah, Second City stuff. Yeah, but she's a Detroiter. Yeah.
So wow. But what the hell's going on with that town? And what are you going to do about it?
Well, I'll tell you what's going on with Detroit. For many, many years, there was bad leadership that were basically absconding with all the money that the taxpayers had given the city, and it was going to their own personal means, and there was a point of diminishing returns, and so now they have a real problem. They declared bankruptcy, but zero is a much better working number than negative 18 billion. So I think there's a whole, certainly a psychological revitalization going on with Detroit, but I think that the fiscal responsibility is looming in the background, and I think that people are starting to realize if we're going to become this great city once again, we've really got to invest back into Detroit. But the thing about Detroit is geographically, it's gigantic. Oh, wow. It is something like 100 square miles. It's a huge city. It's spread out. But what you also have is a decline there's been a mass exodus of people who actually live there, the citizens, And so you had this gigantic area to cover and not enough manpower to really cover it with services. So they've got a real problem now, but I think that there's kind of a cultural swelling and underground, if you will, that's kind of permeated the subculture in Detroit now. So you're seeing a lot of artists move in there. You're seeing a lot of restaurants. Yahoo's world headquarters are there now. Yeah. They've brought, I think, 25,000 jobs to Detroit. So there is a revitalization going on there, and there's a whole theater district now. The Ilitch family's been very instrumental in building Comerica Park. They're going to build a new ice arena there, a whole cultural center that's around that, shopping, and they'll integrate all of that within the confines of this whole new development. So there's a lot going on there, and it's kind of painful because my entire family and all my friends are still back there. And unless you go and your feet are actually on the ground, you don't know that all that stuff's happening.
You're the first person to ever say something positive about Detroit and the changes and stuff. That is, you've just given the vision.
Yeah, it's remarkable to travel around the country and hear, the Detroit, just the degradation of Detroit, but when you end up on the cover of all the magazines saying, Detroit is a ghost town, it's dead, it's horrible, it's bankrupt, those are all negative buzzwords. But when you're back there on the ground with the people and you're experiencing this revitalization and this groundswell of cultural development, it's really cool to be part of that.
If you could walk into Hardcore Pawn, what would you sell?
Probably a pair of underpants that I wore on Full House.
You think the brother and sister would fight over them?
No, I'll tell you who would. Those Danish people. They'd fight. They'd fight right away. Oh no, the Belgians.
That's right.
I got the Danes and the Belgians mixed up there for a second.
So when Dave Coulier is not performing, who is he?
I like to fly fish in Montana in the summer. I like to play golf. I like to play ice hockey, and I love flying airplanes. I'm a
Why aren't you just a Montanan then? I mean, that's everything that we do.
Well, I'll tell you why, because Montana's really windy.
Yes, it is.
And it's not good, and there's severe turbulence there.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's not a great place to fly. Just because of the weather can be, as you know, it's so volatile and it can change on a dime.
I would sit there at the radio station. We'd be on the flats out there outside of Billings, and you could see a storm up there where Livingston and Red Lodge and stuff is. And you could say, okay, it'll be here in 2.5 hours.
Right.
And you could watch that storm come right across the plains. It was just unbelievable.
Yeah.
And
so, but I bring my golf clubs there, and, if you want to see me in July, I'm standing in a river.
So when you go down there around Gardner and all that kind
Paradise
of stuff?
Valley.
And then do you ever go around to the Idaho side and go in that side of the park?
I have. In fact, I drove home this last time through there, and I'd never gone that way.
Right.
I'd always gone the other way through the park, but never on the other side. And oh man, it's beautiful.
Did you get to the backside of the Tetons?
I did.
My God,
I did. That was really yeah.
It's not that famous view. I mean, it's just a spectacular.
It's jaw-dropping.
Yeah.
It really is jaw-dropping. And I tell people, have you ever been to Montana? And they're like, no. And I said, you got to just go. Just go, man. Glacier and, Yellowstone. It's mind-boggling.
Well, even if you're going through central Montana, it's so flat that, I mean, when David Letterman would say that there's no speed limit out there. Really,
yeah.
I swear to God, we'd be in a duster and we'd bury the needle. I have no idea why I'm alive today. Because you're like, this is how you were in the back.
Oh, yeah.
Woo!
Yeah. As long as it's in a container, it's legal. A little drinking going on in that duster, let me tell you. Yeah.
But they're trying to be big city out there, so.
In Bozeman.
Yeah.
Bozeman, yeah. There's a sushi bar in Bozeman.
Oh, wow.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's crazy. There's probably more. There's more, but the last time I went into Bozeman and it's like, you want to get some sushi? I'm like, really? Okay, let's go try it. And then you're at the sushi bar sitting in a saddle. Yeah. It's kind of a different theme than I'm used to in Los Angeles.
Plus, you got all that Ted Turner buffalo meat up there.
Yeah.
White picket. It's the weirdest thing. You're driving down I-90, and it's white picket fences underneath all those beautiful blue mountains.
Yeah.
Oh, man. And you just sit there staring at it going, I know I'm not here.
Yeah.
There's no way.
Yeah. It's a place that I fell in love with about 15 years ago, and continue to go back. A friend of mine bought Whoopi Goldberg's former ranch and said, have you ever been to Montana? And he said, bring your hockey gear. We'll play some hockey up here, and we'll go fishing. And I'd never been fly fishing before, and so we went up there to play hockey and drink beer and fly fish, and that's what we did. And I just said, man, I'm coming back here every summer. This is amazing.
Did you ever play hockey on the river when you were growing up?
I just played hockey on Duck Lake.
Nice.
During the Christmas holiday.
It's a different feel, isn't it?
It is. And then I played outdoors at Comerica Park, too, in a scrimmage game with the Detroit Red Wings alumni.
Do people still treat you like a rock star?
That question, I guess that question has a lot of different meanings and answers to it.
Pick whatever one you want.
Sometimes
radio.
Sometimes they just treat me like a rock, like I'm not there at all, and talk about me. This past week in New York City was me and John Stamos and Bob Saget, and it was Escalade limos all through the city and bodyguards and handlers, and I don't like people fussing over me. I'm not a big. I just don't need a whole lot,
Yeah, well, that's why you got Mike now.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I just don't need a whole lot. I'm not. I'm very simple, and that is such a strange world to me that there's a bodyguard looming over you, or a handler, or you have an assistant, and limos and all that stuff. It's just too much. It's like I'm pretty sure I can get the door.
If you could say one thing to Justin Bieber, what would you say to him? Because
kid, it's going to be over. So enjoy it now, but not the way you're doing now. I understand he's young and he's going to make some mistakes. We all do, but. The way he's making these mistakes is drugs, beating people up, driving fast. It's like, if those aren't the telltale signs of you're going to be dead if you don't stop. Yep. That's what you want to tell him. It's not you're a jerk, you're a little idiot, this and that. It's like, hey, at some point we all are. You're a kid growing up. But to have that kind of pressure that he has, it's just like, hey, you should really be standing back and enjoying this in a better way, because he could.
Did you ever feel like you lost it? When Full House came to an end and stuff, did you ever have that? I always call it the used to be. It's like when we have a radio show, and you had your numbers, you were doing good, and all of a sudden you're not on the air anymore. So people go, oh, you used to be.
I never let that bother me because I didn't come from much. My dad was a Chrysler worker, and so any success that I had, I appreciated it so much. And I always knew this isn't going to last forever. So just the fact that I've been doing this for so long and I'm still sitting here with you talking about my life is mind-boggling to me, because I could have very easily been an assembly line worker in Detroit. Mm-hmm. So I feel like the luckiest guy in the world that I'm still able to pick and choose where I want to go and tell my jokes. I can go to New York City and be limoed around. that stuff's mind-boggling to me. So I've always tried to really enjoy it and never beat myself up when there wasn't an enormous amount of success. Because I didn't beat myself up on the way to getting it. Mm-hmm. So I was like, well, when it goes away, don't beat yourself up on the way down either. Mm-hmm. Just enjoy it. It's a ride. So there's good parts of the ride and there's bad parts.
This past week, I got to tell you, I thought the bit on Fallon was phenomenal. So it'd be the final question. When you broke out in Casey Kasem, dude, I had to rewind that thing 5 times because I was up for American Top 40 in 1987.
Really?
So impersonating Casey Kasem. So when you went into it, I was like, hello again. I'm Casey Kasem from American Top 40. Yep. So when you do Casey, are we running out of people that even – no, actually he's on Sirius. He's on the weekends. But do you feel like you're going – crap, I'm becoming my grandpa, and I don't know if people know who I am anymore, or even like Bullwinkle and stuff.
Well, yeah, it's amazing how many, because of Full House and syndication, people still remember Popeye and Bullwinkle, and it's people who are in their teens and people who are in their early 20s that never saw those cartoons. They only saw me do an impression of them on Full House, but in Jimmy's script, they wanted a DJ voice like I did back in the day. They really wanted to capture that nostalgia and that kind of cheesy corniness that we had back then. And I said, why don't I do a different voice here? And they're like, oh, just do kind of like a Casey Kasem thing. And I was like, okay, cool. I'll do that.
Funniest part of the whole night.
I'll do that.
Funniest.
Yeah.
Absolutely the funniest. Really
I worked with Casey Kasem. My first job was on Scooby-Doo.
No way.
And I did voices on Scooby-Doo, and Casey Kasem, of course, did the Shaggy character.
Oh, my God.
So that was my first job in Hollywood. I got work on the cartoon Scooby-Doo doing voices.
Now, we have a message for John Stamos. He sat here for 30 minutes and never once did you jump into the Popeye. Because he always says, somehow, some way.
Oh, right.
To jump into Popeye.
Oh, boy. How embarrassing.
Has anybody ever told you there's a very famous hockey player? He's actually the highest scoring left wing in NHL history. His name is Luc Robitaille. Has anybody ever told you that you look like Luke.
No,
You
no.
could be like Luke's like younger brother.
Wow, because I used to play left wing hockey in Montana. So,
Did you?
Wow, man! But it was on the river, and so we'd
Oh,
play on the
uh-huh.
river. We'd play in the parks and stuff.
Yeah.
And so when we got the Billings Metro, it was like, oh, I don't want to play there, man.
You could be a Robitaille relative. Yeah.
The Robitussin. I'm the cough syrup.
You're the cough syrup. Yeah, and then your nickname just gets shortened to CS. Hey, CS. Cough syrup. Come here. Yeah.
So you're at the Comedy Zone tonight
And tomorrow.
And tomorrow.
Yeah.
And the times are?
8 and 10:15 tonight, 7 and 9:30 tomorrow.
That's great, man.
Yeah, and it's a heck of a lot of fun, and anybody can come to this show. I mean, I don't know if there's an age requirement at the show, but I mean, it's not for, like 8-year-olds or anything. It's not an episode of Full House, but I mean, if you want to bring your wife out and not, hear F-bombs every other joke, this is really the show where you can feel comfortable that you're going to just, laugh your butts off and you're not going to hear a lot of swearing.
Can I say that it's not Bob Saget, although Bob is very funny.
Bob's hysterical.
But it's not going to be the Bob Saget show.
Yeah, it's just this is a set that you could watch on the Tonight Show. This is it's TV network clean. If I can best categorize it.
I love it. Dave Coulier,
Thanks.
thank you so much.
Thank
man.
you.
Thank you so
Appreciate
much,
it.
man.